You see this shit, man? What the hell? Truth nuke! 50 state sweep. It was never a meme.
I'm Cam with Progressive Victory. I'm a political organizer, but I was not that a couple years ago. I actually was just a random Vaushite, just a Vaush viewer, and got involved volunteering with Progressive Victory, and now this is what I do. I've changed career paths, and I'm organizing with them full time. It's a really great stream-focused org, getting young people involved, speaking our language. It's great. We have created a new game called Streamocracy.
Your real-world advocacy, rewarded online. From Progressive Victory, introducing Quick Save Democracy. Enter the Quick Save Democracy Hub, a place where volunteers can be rewarded for their volunteer work. Select your team and complete action quests like checking your voter registration or signing up for a phone bank. Claim rewards to compete with other PV members. The more victory points you earn, the higher your score. The points you earn also increase your team score. Prove your favorite content creator is the best in Streamocracy. Use all the victory points you've earned to win electoral college votes for your team. Just select a district and choose how many votes you want to buy. The creator with the most states on election day wins. Streamocracy is available to play right now on Quick Save Democracy.
We have gamified democracy, and you can get involved and win the map for Vaush. It's just progress.win/hub, HUB.
This is now like an honor thing. You have to perform well or you'll be shaming me as a live streamer, which will, of course, be sort of met out with consequences to all of you. Please do sign up with PV, okay? It's real important. I signed up already? Good. Even if you don't think you'll be able to canvass, sign up, okay? Can do some damn good work there.
Kamala Harris now leads among likely Iowa voters according to the final Des Moines Register Mediacom Iowa poll before the election. Vice President Harris has a 3 percentage point lead over former President Donald Trump according to the poll. That is within the poll's 3.4 percentage point margin of error. The Republican Party has had a firm grip on power in the state, holding the governor's office, the majority of both state house chambers, and all seats in Iowa congressional delegation. Trump won Iowa by 9 percentage points in 2016 and 8 points in 2020. I talked to my colleague Brianne Fonesteele, our chief politics reporter, to break it down for us. What does this Iowa poll mean for this upcoming election?
Well, I think what this poll means is that you need to be paying attention to Iowa on election night.
No, I don't think I will. Still pretty crazy, though. I saw some people say Republican internals are +5 Trump, which would still be disastrous for Trump. +5 in Iowa? Yeah, even a +5 for Trump would be disastrous. It's difficult to imagine this means nothing because this pollster is pretty reputable. Like, it's wild. The idea that she would be, like, literally 10 to 12 points off, minimum, just to remind Chad of Seltzer's reputation. Yeah, no, she tends to get stuff right. I mean, you know, she's certainly considered reputable. Isn't she Gold Star? Or what is it called? Gold Medal certified? Seltzer is A+. Absolutely wild. I mean, this can basically mean, like, this can mean one of three things, okay? This can mean one of three things. Number one is that it's going to be a Kamala landslide. We're getting blue Texas, and people are madder than they've ever been in all of human history. It's going to be the funniest election night of all time. The win will be so overwhelming they won't even be able to steal it. The second possibility is that this is just wrong. Like, just flatly wrong, indicative of nothing. I think both of these odds are low. I think the most likely chance here is that this represents a heightened level of energy in voters who have yet to vote, because this is in people who have yet to vote, that we're getting like a last second wave of energy that's going to be indicative of like a higher, because it is possible that basically every pollster is still terrified of getting things 2016 wrong again, and they've been overcorrecting with their models, and that, I mean, she chose to publish this, you know, she didn't burn this. She didn't, like, throw it in the fireplace. Sells her poll data broken down. Shows massive shift with boomer woman voters. Women, you've done nothing for me in your entire life, okay? If you could just win us this election by an overwhelming margin. For anyone wondering what the hell going on with the Seltzer Iowa poll, it's basically predicting massive reverse age polarization, which would itself be the result of massive gender polarization among seniors. Harris leads with 35 under and 55 older, so it's literally just Gen X. Dude, the lead generation not doing their best, not giving their best. And then 55... Okay, according to the poll, the 55 and older demographic is even more pro-Kamala than the younger than 35 demographic, by a pretty huge margin, too. With younger than 35 is just up +2, and 55 or older is up +12. According to Nate Silver, it's basically 100% confirmed that most pollsters are hurting their results. Nate Silver doesn't get to say this, man. Nate Silver doesn't get to say this. His ass got bought out. I don't want to hear it, man. I mean, I'll agree with it in this case because it suits my personal agenda, but, like, that's only because I'm biased. He's insufferable? Yeah, that's true. He would know he's the hurting expert. True. Scroll down, there's math. With Nate Silver, we ran the numbers. Even if all 7 swing states were actually tied, there's only a 1 in 7.5 trillion chance that so many polls would show in such a close race. Okay, I'm trying to think of a way to say this that's not going to get me TOS violation, okay? I think that if it turns out the only reason we perceived this as a close race was because all the pollsters agreed to herd results like a motherfucker, I think that they should be exiled from the United States into the bottom of the ocean. Like, 2016 wasn't a result of herding. People just had bad models. And then 2020 happened, which was not as bad as 2016 in terms of bias, but, like, you know, there was... people tried. If they're off to this extent, if we're getting this level of hurt, this level of like, oh, well, actually, I refuse to publish any results that don't put us within a margin of error to the coin flip in every single swing state, that's man. That's I'm from Iowa. The poll is interesting, but Emerson put the race for Trump by 2 points yesterday. Okay. But Limerick 1, you realize that Iowa +2 for Trump would also be insane, right? If Iowa only goes +2 Trump, that's also like massive flags waving from the parapets, alarm bells ringing, like that's also insane. Were people in 2016 saying if Trump won, we'd have no more elections? Maybe some people, but not, I don't think that was the general opinion. Like maybe some, I mean, there's always some people, right? By far the worst herders are Redfield Wilton, a firm that published numbers today showing all 7 states within a 48-47 margin. Yeah, this is what I mean, man. It's all just ratings. Yeah, but a lot of the polls aren't even coming from, like, news orgs. I think it's about professional credibility. I genuinely think that a lot of it is some pollsters are cowards. And they don't, because if you release, like, oh, it's really close kind of poll, no one's going to call you out for it. I don't think Kamala's going to win Iowa, but like the idea of this even being like remotely indicative. Your statement that pollsters are devil was actually true. I doubted you. Well, we have to amend our statement, okay? This pollster in particular is not the devil because this is funny. Oh, let's finish the video, I guess, since we didn't.
You know, before this, both parties really had written off the state. They didn't put a lot of resources here. Nobody's been campaigning here. But at the very least, this shows that Iowa is in play and something interesting could be happening.
And what other observations would you like to include that you found in the Iowa poll?
The other thing that we found in this poll that was really interesting is a lot of support among the oldest voters. The number of likely voters who are under the age of 35 has kind of dropped off since we last polled in September, and we've seen a growth among those people who are older than 65.
That makes sense. Youth energy goes down as Kamala Harris's rhetoric gets less populist after the DNC, but older people's engagement goes up because they're more likely to watch like televised news and care about stuff like abortion rights. The 2024 election results is if every state shifts as much as the Seltzer poll thinks Iowa did. This isn't going to happen, but it is fun to look at. I was hurting my results to only one chat message. Well, you got what you wanted, Benjamin. It got shown. Yeah, it's Iowa's not going to go blue, or at the very least, like that would be insane, like genuinely insane. However, the fact that any reputable pollster could run a poll and get Iowa +3 Harris means that at the very least it suggests that we've been seeing a lot of non-indicative polling elsewhere and things might be way more in our favor than we think. Can you imagine if the polling is so wildly off, like so insanely off that like Texas or Florida does go blue, or not even shooting for the stars like that, but like a clean Pennsylvania, Georgia, North Carolina, Not even like a close one, but a decisive one, like more than 100,000 votes in each. There's a recent poll where Trump only was 5 points ahead in Kansas. That's wild. We're huffing the copium hard. Not really. I know that like you guys have mistaken my cautious rhetoric for cynicism. This is significant. I just don't know what it indicates necessarily. I mean, nobody does. He was also only +3 on Ohio. Well, that's Ohio, you know. I don't give a shit what Lichtman predicts. I don't think that guy, I don't trust that guy at all. This poll single-handedly make me go from thinking that it's like 60-40 for Trump to 65-35 for Harris purely on vibes. Vibes are all that matters, man. That's all we have in this environment. Vibes are all we have. I think math matters. You best start believing in the power of friendship. Okay? It's all we have. Can you explain herding? I don't understand. Herding basically means that it's basically like they derive the outcome based on the presumption of where they should end up. They basically look at other polls and they go, yeah, that looks like about the right place this poll should end up at. So they tailor their models and their data and their methodology and everything to basically get like the same results. In the worst cases of herding, they will outright toss out polling data that provides like wild outliers. It is good to not release outliers, or if bad data is supporting like the outcome, like if you get like a +7 Harris in Florida and it's because, oh, it turns out we only pulled people outside a gay bar in Miami, like, okay, yeah, sure. But this is a reputable pollster. So, I mean, we'll see. There are a lot of pollsters who are massive cowards, though. That is true. Yeah, but this is +3. Yeah, but it's +3 in Iowa. +3 in Iowa is worth like a +7 in Pennsylvania, maybe even more. It's +3 in Iowa is worth like, congratulations, Texas is now a purple state. You know, it's pretty crazy. Literally will never trust a pollster again if Iowa goes to Harris. It's not, I don't think it's going to go to Harris, but like, I think that I've been saying this from the beginning, that polling is the devil. And it's the thing that I've tried to stress that a lot of people don't understand is that like polling is not the type of thing where you can just go like, oh, we're going to spend a lot of money on this poll. That'll make it a good poll. In order for a poll to be useful, to provide useful information, you need analytical models to interpret the data. The raw data means nothing because depending on how you do the polling, where you do the polling, when you do the polling, what kinds of questions you ask, blah, 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 you can get wildly biased results. You need a model to analyze the data that you get. And that model isn't like an objective thing. The model that you use to analyze that polling data is, well, you have to make like an argument for it, basically. You have to go, well, I think that because this method of polling people disproportionately hit like elderly white people, that we need to proportion the results here based on our presumed the presumed bias of that demographic in favor of this candidate or another. There's like a bunch of stuff that goes into it. Yeah, models are difficult. Very, very, very difficult. This is one of the reasons why campaigns keep internal polling internal. They have methods of polling that are often a lot more tailored to their experiences in direct engagement with voters, because usually pollsters will just like, poll people, right? But a campaign, because they're on the ground, because they're putting like hundreds of millions of dollars into the campaign, they have access to information and models that can be used to sort of track and understand data much more effectively because they have internals that they run constantly. Internal polling data is often a lot more, it's not necessarily more correct, but it might be more indicative if you know what it means. So that's why they keep it internal, because if they release that information, it might like give the game away on the difference between their understanding of how things are going and how like the general public's understanding of how things are going is going. It's complicated. Is there a model you think works best? No, this is what I mean. There is no A model. That's not a thing. There is no A model. It's complicated. That's why we like meta-analysis, right? No. This is why we hate meta-analysis and we hate pollsters. Again, like if the models aren't correct, we basically can't even tell if they're correct, is the problem. That's one of the reasons why it's so important to track pollsters based on their like reputation, A+, B+, whatever. This is an A+ individual. Yeah, the analytical model that pollsters use to interpret their data is given to them via prophecy. They have a dream. This is why all good pollsters keep like a notebook next to their bed. They wake up from the dream and they hastily scribble it down. And then later that is like computed and added to the mathematical. I can't wait to be able to ignore politics for 4 years. Oh, we have a bruncher here, huh? A liberal bruncher? I'm sorry, did you think the genocide in Gaza is ending on November 5th? You had a stream a few days ago lamenting about how all the polls being 50-50, if you didn't immediately assume that was being manipulated, going too far. Nebuka, take that, twist it, turn it around, bop it, and then type that out again, but with fewer syntax errors. It might be entirely on my end, but I'm tired, okay? You guys do realize that if we get like a Harris blowout almost entirely because of women, the incel politics in this country are going to be like South Korea's. Like, we're going to have decades of like the woman hatred that is going to become like the mainstream position of the conservative majority. It's going to be like unimaginable. Women are going to be going to college wearing those like metal chastity belts to protect themselves from the marauding gangs of young men who think they deserve a state-mandated girlfriend or something. Buy into wife guy stocks now? Oh, that shit's going to the moon. But wouldn't that hurt their future chances? Listen, don't let electoral viability get in the way of some good old-fashioned misogyny, all right? That's crazy, dude. From this poll, men are up Trump by 14, women are up Harris by 20. This is like a irreconcilable you will be a virgin forever kind of gap. Like, young men, you need to sort your shit out, okay? You need to stop watching Aiden Ross. You are never nutting inside of a woman, okay? At least not with her permission. Holy. You might be overestimating straight women? Maybe. But, like, it's still an issue. I just couldn't believe all those 50-50 polls were actually accurate and not from something behind the scenes. Well, have I not said that polling is from the devil many times over this? I can't accuse the pollsters of hurting, like, baseless. I mean, there's always hurting, right? But, like, I can't make the accusation baselessly. I'm not a pollster or a statistician or an analyst, you know. If an argument is made, an argument is made. Absent the argument, all I can really do is say that everyone who disagrees with me is Hitler, which is, you know, a good heuristic to run by, I think. I know early voting is misleading, but other good news as well is in Nevada early voting. So far, Trump is only like +4 in Nevada, despite the majority of early votes being 50+. The early votes have been largely favorable. The turnout has been massive. I've heard apparently in Georgia, we recently surpassed the total amount of early voting relative to 2020, which was during the height of COVID. So like proportionally, more people have voted at this time this year than they did back in 2020. 72 million early votes been cast. Yeah, people are really gunning for it. Yeah. Do you think the poly market reaction is significant? Is this literally all because of the Iowa poll? Like, Elon has been boosting the ever-loving out of Donald Trump. Get it to 69%. Get it to 69% for Trump. 69%. And his Harris really swung up like nearly 6 points in 3 hours just because of the Iowa poll. The poly market thing is heavily influenced by some French loser. Only doing it for the money could win 80 million. I think the pot is so big at this point. This is only like a little part of it. I mean, apparently it's getting overwhelmed now because it's almost 50-50 again. How are you going to cope with November 5th anxiety? I never feel anxiety. I'm actually just better than you. I'm relatable to you because like you see skin and hair and eyes, and you think for a moment as our eyes meet that you may have something in common with me, but you're wrong. There's nothing behind. I don't know the full speech. I'm sorry. It's been a while since I've seen it. You are simply not there. When Kamala certifies her victory, it'll be like Napoleon crowning himself. You do realize that if she wins and she certifies her own victory, not only Republican voters, but Republican politicians and media will call that a conspiracy. They'll say, how could you, as the VP, certify your own election victory? This is insane. Like, it's going to be on Fox News. They're going to have, Glenn Beck or something up there. It's like, this is crazy. I've never been anything like this. This has never happened before. Tulsi Gabbard. Yeah, Tulsi Gabbard's going to be like, no one's ever voted for this woman, you know, except for like the 90 million people who are about to vote for her. Despite HW literally doing it. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Anyway, the conclusion to this is that if this ends up being even remotely indicative, Jan Selzer is going down as like the greatest pollster in American history. In an era where all of them were too cowardly to deliver any information outside the norm, one woman stood tall. I believe in her. She's actually so brave for this, I would have not released it. You coward, you're part of the problem. Imagine how humiliating it would be to certify your own loss, though. Well, that's happened too. I mean, she'll go through with it. Selzer was the only pollster who correctly predicted. Yeah, we looked at it. Alan Lichtman will get his dick sucked every day for the last 4 years. Dude, he was against swapping out Biden for Kamala. What? How can anyone... Why are people still paying attention to him? He literally... Like, he within the past few months was like anti the thing that happened, and then when it happened, he was like, oh, hold on, let me correct the models really quick. And then it became... It's like... It's QAnon shit. Like, you can't evaluate the viability of an analytical model based only on the like post-event alterations made to it. You're just tailoring it to fit whatever works in retrospect. Only he can turn the keys. How convenient. He was against it because he was worried about it affecting the primary challenge key, apparently, but the party united behind Harris. I saw some of his arguments. It wasn't just... One of the most difficult red pills that you just have to swallow if you get really involved in politics is that no one can accurately predict anything that's going to happen ever, because we all live under the fog of war created by a bunch of competing interests. In like a purely dialectical sense, it's not one, like, there are so many forces at play, and the information that you're working off of... Oh, I'm sorry, this guy has shooters everywhere. I look at YouTube chat for 1 second. What a nice way of saying you didn't actually pay attention to any of his arguments. You just pay attention to the headline, Vaush. I got like a dozen emails from people being like, I think that you should like reevaluate your perspective on this weirdo cultist and like look at the entirety of his argument and also like break down all the keys to like, you know, assess the viability of them as he says it. Jesus Christ. Look, this is again, it's a heuristic, okay? Anyone who touts like 12 easy steps to predict the president, they're lying to you. It's just that simple. It's never been, it's that, trust me, if there was any like quick and easy model for determining who is going to be the president, everyone would be using it, all right? If only he can turn the keys, come on. Let's not be ridiculous here. You're being a damn goofy goober is what you're being. The beef between Lichtman and Silver is hilarious, though. Well, in this respect, I am in favor, in the war between Lichtman and Silver, I'm in favor of Lichtman, purely because I think that Silver is like an odious, like condescending, I wouldn't say grifter, but like he has had his ego massaged into the wrong camp, okay? I don't like that poly market shit. I never will. Whereas Lichtman seems like an authentic, independent lunatic, and I think I respect that more, you know? You don't have the faintest idea how to turn the keys. The keys? You wouldn't know what to do with the keys if they bit your ass. Silver? Copper, more like.